Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest and welcome to the 8th of July 2025. Time is currently 3:12 p.m. So just under 1 hour left of trading on an absolutely fascinating day. And I say that for one reason. Well, actually, there's two reasons. And I'll touch upon these two reasons during this video. One of these reasons is individual company, and the other reason is a decision by the Reserve Bank of Australia in regards to interest rates. There was expectations of interest rates moving in one direction, and did that happen or not? Well, you can actually have a look at the 1 minute chart of the XJO and see what the decision was at that point in time. In fact, so we'll have a look at that and talk about that later in the video. Now, the agenda of today's video, we'll go through the ASX today. Interesting day. It's moved up and down, and then we'll have a look at the top 5 stocks of the day. The stock of the day was probably one of the most no-brainer decisions I've ever had to make. In fact, I've been intrigued all day with this company and been intrigued with the 1 minute chart. I've been intrigued by their announcement and the possibility of a significant overreaction from the market. I even went to Hot Copper to have a look at what they're all thinking about. And I've put this company onto my watch list for a potential buy. Anyway, so we'll talk about that company later in the video. The other 4 stocks of the day, again, a fairly quiet period of time we're in when it comes to announcements, and that should ramp up. Announcements should really ramp up through the rest of July because we are in Appendix 4C and 5B month. And then one of my favorite times of the year, August, where we see how companies have performed for financial year 25, for some, how they performed for the first half of their financial year. And no chart of the day. I've completely forgot about that. So I'll have a think about that as I am speaking. Yes, I am multi-talented. I can speak and think at the same time. Okay, I think that was a pretty stupid thing to say. Anyway, let's have a look at the ASX today. Down she goes. And I'm pretty sure we started down. Yeah, in fact, I can see the little chart up here of the odds and the XJO. We started down and then we rallied in anticipation of interest rates being cut. And then we dropped significantly when interest rates weren't cut. Yes, I've given it away for those who don't know. And if you don't know, you've been living in a rock or a cave. Anyway, so this is actually the charts of the XJO, odds and tech. And something significant happened at 2:30 p.m. Wonder what that could be. You just see all the indices just dropped in that 1 minute. And in fact, tech has been dropping ever since. And we have seen a little bit of a slight rally with the other 2 indices, but now they're dropping away. What could have happened at 2:30? Well, I've already given it away. Interest rates were not cut, which was a surprise to the market. Fairly big surprise. I thought probably 95% likely interest rates would be cut. I haven't gone through their reasoning. I'm assuming they are being a little bit conservative. They don't want to cut interest rates too quickly or too much because we did see in the 1970s, that's exactly what they did. They cut interest rates too quick. They thought they got inflation under control, and then inflation went on another run. And that would be the worst thing that could happen. And also with Trump getting excited about tariffs again, who knows what's going to happen? That could actually lead to increased inflation in the United States, and that could affect us negatively well. So I do think it's probably a good thing that they're being a little bit conservative with lowering interest rates. Just get more information. Get more information, and then they can do it the next time. Anyway, so that's exactly what happened today. Why we're down right now. It wasn't a significant drop, but it was definitely a drop. In fact, if we have a look at the XJO. What am I doing? Go to the XJO and just have a look at the 1 minute chart. Where is it? There it is. It dropped 0.3% in 1 minute on that news. It looks very similar to the closing auction. No, that's the opening auction. Okay, yeah. So that's what happened at 2:30. There was just that decision when it comes to interest rates. And that's why we have seen a drop. If you go to the tech sector, there was another drop there. I'm assuming banks probably fell. Yep, banks fell 0.33% in that 1 minute. Then they rallied back up fairly quickly. So buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the banks, buy the banks. They're cheap. No, they're not. They're expensive. Okay, so that's the main driving force of our market today. Well, in that 1 minute anyway. And the best performing sectors today, IT up slightly, financials down slightly, but a pretty bad day for staples, defensive, utilities, and real estate, all down by more than 0.75%. What's happening with staples? Interesting. Is it broad or is it just one company? Let's have a look. Oh, it's broad. Very, very broad. A2 Milk down 3.8%. Woolworths, Coles, all down. And yeah, so it's fairly broad there. That's interesting. Don't know why. And utilities down. I'm pretty sure they had Origin. That's right, Origin. And I did hear something about there were rumors of Origin spinning out something. I forget. I don't know. I can't remember. And if we have a look at utilities, yeah, it's all over the place. Okay, I'm bored with that now. Gold's had a really good day. Understandable. I did go through the top gainers and top losers. And when we got to the top gainers section, I noticed a lot of gold companies, particularly the smaller gold companies in the best performing companies today. So no surprise there. I saw a few silver companies. So a good day for gold and a pretty bad day for, you can actually open this up and have a look, and a pretty bad day for consumer staples. But we already knew that. Okay, back to the ASX 20. Where is it? Down 0.28%. Now, based off this, we know Woolworths is down, Coles is down. Maybe, I don't know, what else? What else? 6 companies up, only 6. A few banks in there. Pro Medicus up, WiseTech. So good day for some of the high quality growth companies. ANZ's up, NAB, CBA. So pretty good day for the banks, by the way. And a pretty bad day for Woolworths, worst performing company in the ASX 20. There you go. Defensive, staple. Okay. Now let's turn our attention to the top gainers on the ASX today. A company called Australian Pacific Coal. Now, because we did have a dearth of interesting announcements, I have put this company into the top 5. But when I talk about Australian Pacific Coal, interesting what's happened to them, not only today, but also yesterday. So share price up 440% on nothing. Activeport share price up 67% on an announcement. Now, the share price is fairly low, but again, fairly limited selection of companies I could talk about today. I could have talked about Drone Shield, but yeah, share price up about 4% on another contract win. So they've been releasing quite a few contract wins lately. Digital X, DCC, strategic investor for that company. So we can move on. In fact, I'm going to just have a look at the chart for DCC. I don't really look at this company all that often. For me, this is more of a proxy Bitcoin company. Chart actually looks pretty good. So I should study this company a little bit more, but I've always thought of this as sort of like a Bitcoin company. In fact, if we have a look at Digital X, secures 20.7 million strategic investment. I did actually have a very quick look at this. Capital to be employed in expanding Digital X's existing Bitcoin treasury position. There you go. And I would say this is like a mining company. Whichever way Bitcoin goes, this company will go. If Bitcoin drops 70%, this company could drop 80%. If Bitcoin goes up 100%, this company could go up 200%. I don't know. So if you really want some Bitcoin and you don't want to buy the actual Bitcoin, maybe this is the company for you. Otherwise, yeah. Let's go back to the top gainers. I don't think there was anything else. No, there wasn't. If you have a look, top gainers by market cap. Oh, this is where I saw quite a few mining companies or gold companies like Vault Minerals, up 9%. Resolute, Orabanda, Catalyst, Pantora Gold. And notice these are smaller ones. Most of these are smaller ones. Kingscape Consolidated, Black Cat, and a few silver companies, Andean Silver, Theta Gold, Unico Silver. So very much a bit of a gold, silver, dominated top gainers by market cap today. And there's also Somerset Group Holdings. Interesting enough, they did release an announcement today, but I didn't even gave it a second thought, this one. In fact, when I went through the top gainers, I didn't even see this one until right now. So it's interesting. So second quarter 2025 metrics, sales of occupation rights. It's a New Zealand property company. Yeah, don't really have that much interest. So let's have a look at the chart, just to be a little bit fair. Let's have a look. And it's nah. Over time, though. Actually, let's have a look at the weekly chart. Actually, the weekly chart doesn't look all that bad. Goes back to 2013. Has I mean, it's gone up 3 and a bit fold over 10 years. So you probably want, oh no, that's okay, I suppose. Maybe I'm being a little bit unfair on Somerset Group Holdings, markup $2.65 billion. There you go. And there's Drone Shield up 5.69%. I suppose I will give this one a bit of a talk. Only 3.25% now. Yeah, 11.7 million Department of Defense research contract. They are releasing or announcing a few contract wins. That's probably good. So they have to keep on doing that because this company has a markup, was it $2 billion now? Which, yeah, 2.27 billion. So there's a lot of promise already or potential already priced into Drone Shield. So they have to really realize that potential to justify that sort of market cap. So I don't think there's much more to go for Drone Shield at this level or at these prices. So I don't think the share price of Drone Shield could double from here. To get a market cap of 5.5 billion would seem a little bit silly right now. Maybe in the 5 years, but right now that's so that's why I have no interest in trading Drone Shield at this point in time. Okay, now let's go to the top losers. Bunch of losers, these companies. And at the top is no surprise, it's Botanix. I was going to say Biopharmaceuticals. Botanix Pharmaceutical share price down 58%. 58%. You might think, well, they had a negative phase 2 trials or negative phase 3 trials or something ridiculous like that. Nope, they did not. But I'll talk about Botanix later in the video. In fact, I think there's some positives out there, by the way. They're selling something. Anyway, US Masters Residential Property Fund, maybe they went ex-div or ex-distribution. And there's nothing else here. Neuroscientific Biopharmaceuticals. I saw this chart the other day. Share price has gone on a really solid run, has increased a fair bit. So I'm not shocked with this one. Share price has dropped a fair bit. So this chart was looking, yeah, look at that. Again, share price going exponentially up, and eventually you're going to see the share price pull back a fair bit, and possibly that pullback has started today. Wouldn't be surprised maybe a little bit of buying comes in because, oh my God, the share price of Neuroscientific has pulled back today. It's buying opportunity. It's buying. And some people will be a little bit too quick and they'll buy some. But eventually when you see this sort of pattern, yeah, eventually the share price will pull back. More than likely will pull back a fair bit. If it doesn't, that's really powerful. If you see the share price just go sideways from here for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, that's a really good sign. That means that there's enough buying to prop up the share price at the same level. Because I can guarantee you there'll be a lot of profit taking, and that should be a bit of a hindrance to the share price rising much more from there or here. And nothing else there. So you can see fairly low turnover, fairly small companies. So we can move on to top losers by market cap. And there's Botanix. I'm pretty sure like companies like Orthocell, maybe even Tetra Therex is down because of Botanix, but it's completely, well, maybe not completely different. But there's nothing really to talk about here. Nope. Okay, so let's get to the top 5 stocks of the day. And again, fairly quiet day on the market. Coming in number 5, we have Nova Medical. Share price up 12% on record revenues for financial year 25. I will also always say that this sort of announcement, I will always look at it. Record revenues for financial year 25. Yeah, it's in the announcement. It's 2 pages. Maybe the second page is just the company's details. Let's have a look. Yep. So really, this is a 1-pager. And I do find a lot that sometimes the best announcements, the most powerful announcements, have the least amount of words, like a one-liner. That's if you have a profit upgrade, all you have to do is we think profit will be, profit this year will be 20% higher than our previous forecast or previous guidance. It may be just the numbers. That's all you need to do. Anyway, so Nova Eye Medical, I don't know much about this company except assuming they have something to do with eye care because it's in the ticker code and it's in the name of the company. But other than that, I have not had a look at this company. Let's see what they do. Medical technology company that develops, manufactures, and sells a portfolio of ophthalmic. That's a really odd word. OPHTHALMIC. Ophthalmic. That's it. That first H is weird. Treatment technologies and devices used by eye surgeons globally. These technologies include eye track, advanced minimally invasive consumable glaucoma surgical device that restores the eye's natural outflow pathway to lower pressure inside the eye, and blah, 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 blah. Headquartered in Fremont, California. I nearly got a job in Fremont 1 year. And then I had a look around and went, I don't want to live here. It's just outside of, it's on the other side of the bay in San Francisco. No, what's south of San Jose? Wherever, Silicon Valley, that sort of area. Yeah, so here it is. So there's Silicon Valley. Palo Alto, Stanford, the other side of the bay. And the place I was interviewing for was in the Aloft Silicon Valley area, right here. I just didn't like it. Well, the company was okay, but I could not live there at that point in time. Maybe now, maybe. Anyway, so headquartered in Fremont, California, which is interesting. So why are they listed on the ASX? They have manufacturing in Fremont, California, and Dunedin, New Zealand. Okay, so let's go back to these numbers. So record revenue of 28.8 million for the year. So that's pretty nice revenue. Okay, that's okay. Record. 6 consecutive half years of growth in the USA, with half year financial year 25 US sales up 25%. Quarter 4 sales of 8.4 million, the highest on record. So if you analyze that, we're talking about, what was that, 33, 34 million? That's pretty good. Notice they're not talking about profit here or anything else. They're just talking about revenue. All right. So first thing I always look at is revenue. So this is a good start. But then I want to know, is the company profitable? That sort of thing at this point in time. And they don't really get into that. The company expects to release its Appendix 4C in the last week of July. So let's have a look at the most recent Appendix 4C, just to get a gauge on whether this company has reached that inflection point or if they're approaching it. So let's just have a look. Nova Eye, I have a feeling no, just because I haven't really looked at this company in the past. So let's just have a very quick look. So receipt 6.6 million. Yeah, operating cash flow negative 1.4 million. So well away from that point. They spend a fair bit on product manufacturing and operating costs and staff costs. So that's the 2 main spending. A little bit on advertising and marketing. And yeah, so they might mention, no, they don't even mention that. I was going to say maybe they mentioned their EBITDA positive, but no, they haven't got to that point yet. Financial year 25 revenue guidance confirmed between 9 and 10 million. Ooh, 4-year revenue between 27.5 and 29 million. How does that, did they mention 27.5 and 29? Oh, it's at the, it says in line with guidance. So it's the upper end of guidance. So that's another reason why the share price has gone up a little bit today, because in a way, this is a bit of an upgrade, just a small upgrade. Even though it's in line with guidance, it's toward the upper end. And the way I look at that is it's a beat. I always look at the midpoint as the number to look at. And if you're above that midpoint of the guidance range, it's a beat. If you're below, it's a miss. Okay, let's have a look at the chart for Nova Eye. This chart has not popped up on any of my scans. Maybe it does today. Oh, hello. Hello, Nova Eye. Nova Eye, we started to see some good volume coming in February. You can see before that, there was just no volume for about 6-7 months. And share price was in a downtrend. That was maybe the first sign. The bottom was nearing. The bottom actually reached, or was reached, not long after that. Looks like they released something positive on the 10th of April. Share price went up 26.4% on that day. What day was that again? 10th of April. Let's go back to 10th of April. They didn't release anything on that day. Sometimes share price of a company can just go up or down on a whim. And there was big volume on the day as well. That's interesting. Anyway, share price today has got to, it's at a 4-month high to 5-month high. I don't mind this chart. But I do probably need that financial. I need the share price to be rallying on better financial news, and in particular, profitability and cash flow positiveness. Anyway, so maybe a company to put on the watch list. There you go. Nove. Maybe it belongs to be higher on the list because the next two companies, well, meh. So coming in number 4, we have SDI, share price up 5.4% on a trading update. Yeah, thank you, SDI. Release a trading update. I had a look at this, 1 page long, and I went away from this particular trading update not having a different opinion on this company. It's a meh. For me, this is a meh company. Something to do with dentistry. They make dentistry stuff for dentists. Dental technology. That's probably a better way to say it. Dental technology. So sales, 111 million, almost flat. In some places, sales down. Some places, sales up. Sales up in Europe and Brazil. Weaker sales in Middle East and Asia. And continuing declines in amalgam sales, whatever that is, down 20.4%, which is a fairly big decline. Gross profit margins did improve from 62.1% to 63%. So even though profit might be flat, down slightly, profit should be up a little bit because margins have improved, although operating margins might have dropped. Although it says operating expenses remain well managed despite sustained. Is that different font there? That looks like it's different font. My eye seeing something. It goes from operating expenses remain one font to well managed despite to a different font, and then back to the other font. Am I seeing things there? I want similar letters. No, it's different font. That's interesting. Profit expected to be in range of 10 to 10.4 million compared to 10.4 million for the previous corresponding period. So obviously the operating margins have probably are in the same ballpark. Anyway, so they released results on the August 28th. So these particular results or this announcement was like, meh. I was a big meh. Didn't get really excited about it, but share price is up 5%. And it's a trading update. And if you release a trading update on a fairly quiet day, like today, you're going to get some noise. You're going to get in the top 5 stocks of the day. Okay, let's have a look chart for SDI. Wonder what SDI stands for. Yeah, I don't really care. Okay. Oh, that's right. Someone mentioned this company because the share price had fallen a fair bit and then was sort of leveling off. So yeah, there actually are things to like about this chart. We've seen big volume coming in today. Share price has popped up from this little sideways movement period. So share price is at looks like a 3-month high. Yeah, anyway, but other than that, if we have a look at the weekly chart for this company, look at that. This is a weekly chart. Share price has just gone sideways for many, many years, not really doing anything. This is why I've always thought of this company as meh. It just really does nothing. Okay, so I actually like Nove a little bit more than SDI. Oh no, I shouldn't say that. At least SDI is profitable, but it's just not growing all that much. Coming in number 3, we have AQC or Australian Pacific Coal. Share price up 480%. You might be saying, wow, this should be the stock of the day. Surely 480% rise in share price. Wowzers, what should be? So I did think this company must have released something today. They did not. In fact, they did receive a price query from the ASX. And funny enough, I opened up this price query. And they said no to question 1. So question 2, not applicable. Question 3, they've given a bit of leeway, maybe not leeway, creative license, to just try to say or suggest why the share price might have risen a fair bit today. And all they said was, other than as announced to the ASX yesterday, 7th of July, the company is not aware of any other explanation. So fairly boring. I did not have a look at this Dartbrook update. I did not look at this at all. So it looks like something has gone into voluntary administration. So as previously advised, the appointed operator of Dartbrook Mine and related entities appointed voluntary administrators on 3rd of July. So what's the relationship between this company and Dartbrook? I have no idea. Anyway, but what I did notice yesterday, share price of this company dropped 90% in one day. I, in fact, missed this. And I think the reason well, maybe not. I don't remember seeing this company in the top losers. Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe I completely missed it. Or maybe the share price just dropped off just after or when I was recording video. So share price went from 5.1 cent to 0.5 cents. Fairly big volume. In fact, I'm now wondering if this price query was about yesterday or today. No, it can't be yesterday. They released it. No, it was about yesterday and today. No, it's about today. They just mentioned here the change in share price from 0.6 cents to 3.3 cents. Now, the reason I find this quite silly is because the share price dropped 90% yesterday from 5.1 to 5 cents or 0.5 cents. And the share price right now is 2.9 cents. So the share price is still significantly down from when it was yesterday. So even though it's up 480%, it's still down a fair bit. So you can just see that share price down 90%, up 480%, but the share price is nowhere near getting back to where it was. So percentage changes do matter. And that's why that sometimes you'll hear someone say, if a share price drops 50%, you need the share price to rally 100% to get back where it is or was before. So I do hear a lot of experts say that sort of crap. Anyway, interesting goings on with AQC, Australian Pacific Coal. Let's have a look at the chart for this one. Oh, it's going to be all over the place. Oh, that's a weekly chart. And the weekly chart looks horrible. Although, and look at that here. So obviously what happened yesterday was probably the catalyst for the share price dropping. And because the share price dropped so much, this rally today, it's sort of understandable, although the volume today has been quite big. So I think the market might be thinking yesterday's drop was overreaction. And let's start buying today. It's cheap. I know nothing about this company. Let's have a look. I'm assuming they do release Appendix 5Bs. Yes. Is this company producing anything? Let's have a look. They produced $233,000 of cash receipts in the last quarter. But spent 18. Is that right? $233,000 receipts, production costs of 18 million. Yeah, well, there must be a reason behind that, but I'm going to stay well away. Okay, coming in number 2, we have Activeport. Share price up 33%. Oh, it was up like 66% earlier. It was up. It actually more than doubled at one point today. Share price yesterday closed at 0.9 cents, got to a high of 2.1 cents today. Open at 1 cent. So a fair bit of buying, then share price has fallen. So a bit of a plaything for day traders today. ATV secures major contract with Ishan Technologies. If you've not read this, or if you haven't read this announcement, where do you think Ishan comes from? Ishan Technologies. Yeah. Ishan is Indian. Yes, Indian. So yeah, Indian Ishan. It does sound like an Indian name, doesn't it? I think it does. Yeah. Anyway, so let's see if as soon as I saw Ishan, the title here, I was thinking, is that Indian? And it is Indian. It's an Indian ICT provider. I have no idea I know nothing about this company. So whenever I don't know anything about company, the first thing I do is go to the About section. It's funny, they've got an About section for the contract, the counterparty, if that's the word, and the company itself. So Activeport develops software for telecommunication providers and data center operators. That should be a bit of a growth sector, you'd think. Ishan is a leading ICT group in India with a presence across over 100 locations, a robust network connecting 40 data centers. So data center company, and the contract has a base value of $375,000, which is not that much. Anyway, so the partnership will transform Ishan Technologies' infrastructure, network infrastructure, automating connectivity for more than 12,000 edge devices and serving their 85,000 strong customer base. The project will showcase Activeport's technology, Activeport's first fiber-to-the-node orchestration to more than 12,000 buildings, and 40 plus data centers. So it's not only data centers, it looks like. First at scale implementation of Activeport's new network operations center. And again, the value of this contract initially looks like it was $375,000. Additional license fees will accrue on a per device per month basis. I can sort of understand why the market might be a little bit interested in this particular announcement. So I just want to see how much cash flow this company has right now, or lack of cash flow might be a better word. First thing is highlights in the last quarter. Software revenue is up 49.3%. So let's have a look. Receipts, 2.2 million. So receipts not that low. Thought it was going to be lower than that. And operating cash flow negative by 1.4 million. So still well away from an inflection point. So not for me just yet, but maybe they're on the way. And they also spend a fair bit of money on IP, and that's ongoing costs. In my opinion, that should be in the operating part of the business. That's just me. Or if not, you could just say a company is free cash flow negative by $2 million because that's an ongoing cost. Even though technically the definition of free cash flow is operating cash flow minus capital expenditure, and capital expenditure is property, plant, and equipment. The way I do it is I include intellectual property, either in the operating or the capital expenditure, because it's an ongoing cost. You can see it. They have the same cost almost every single quarter. And I know that because for the 9 months to date, it's 2.1 million. For this quarter, 721,000. It's an ongoing cost. You have to include it in cash flow. Anyway, let's have a look at the chart. I do remember this company a few years ago. It was operating cash flow positive for 1 or 2 quarters. And so it did sort of trigger me, but you can see the share price has dropped significantly since then. So this must have been just after they listed. So it might have been in 2023, I can't remember, but the share price has dropped significantly since then. In fact, the share price has gone down over 90%. But nice volume today. Share price did get to 2 cents. You can definitely see why it has been selling today. There would be a lot of shareholders who bought at high prices, and today has been the day to get out of this dog stock. All right, now on to the stock of the day. Really a no-brainer. Botanix. I always want to say Botanix Biopharmaceuticals. No-brainer. Stock of the day, Botanix Pharmaceuticals. They have this product called Softra. I did a standalone video on this, but on Botanix Pharmaceuticals, but I'm not going to release it in the next 24 hours. I'm going to release it in September. It's not a really time-relevant video. It's not about this particular announcement. It's just looking at hot copper when you're trying to get more information and 1-minute charts. And the 1-minute chart for Botanix Pharmaceuticals today has been quite interesting, quite illuminating. Anyway, so Botanix Pharmaceuticals have this product called Softra. Softra was just launched in the United States. I don't know how long ago. I don't follow this company too closely. Softra is a treatment for over-sweating. There is a word for that. Hydroexplosis. Over-sweating condition. Definitely hydro's in it. Or hyper. Oh, sorry, I was completely wrong. Hydrosis is in there. Hyper, which is a lot. Hydrosis must mean sweating. So a lot of sweating. Hyperhidrosis, excessive sweating. So this treatment is for excessive sweating. Sometimes you might go out, it's not that hot, and then the guy raises his armpits and you see a lot of sweat. That sort of thing, I think. Anyway, so they launched this product in the United States quite a few months ago, and they announced a launch update on Friday. There was a little bit of excitement on the day. Share price ran up 8% on that day. Share price then dropped 8% yesterday. That does not mean anything in hot copper, there was all these comments about manipulation, insiders knew because the share price dropped yesterday. I was like, oh no, I didn't write in hot copper. I don't do that anymore. Anyway, so Botanix launches or provides software launch update. They also had a webinar. So I don't know much about this company, but because they're selling something, I'm actually interested to see how they're performing. And as I went through this without knowing any expectations, without knowing much about the company, I thought, oh, this is not that bad. This is pretty good. And this is well before the market had opened, by the way. So they've gone through the monthly software gross sales. It's gone from nothing to 8.4 million in 5 months, 6 months, 1, 2, 3, 6 months. And it's a nice increase every month. We're not really see it accelerating or anything like that. But if you have a look at the quarter, and in fact, if you go back to the last quarter, you'd notice that, where is it? Their Appendix 4C, they have no receipts. In fact, this is exactly what I did this morning. I went through this. I just want to see how they performed last quarter. No receipts or very little receipts. Cash outflow in operations, $20 million. So that's a fair bit in one quarter. So that includes operating costs, 12.7 million, staff costs, 2.2 million, product manufacturing costs, 3.4 million, general administration, 2.4 million. But they did generate $8 million of sales in 1 month. So if you just quarterlize that, we're talking about $24 million of revenue in a quarter. So yeah, maybe some of these costs will increase a fair bit. So they are maybe moving towards that inflection point of cash flow positiveness. So I was going through this and going, that's a really nice increase in sales. Now, there might be a bit of a slowdown there, slight slowdown, but it's still increasing. There's that one as well. Prescribers, unique prescribers by month. So it has been increasing, but again, you might say, oh, a bit of a slowdown in June. So I was thinking, oh, it's not that bad. Actually, I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking, well, this is interesting. Nice increase in revenue. So the product is getting out there. They also had this comparison to this other company, sort of saying they're really good, what they're doing right now with less sales reps. And the size of the different size in the companies is quite extreme. So this other company is 1.6 billion market cap, and Botanix has a market cap of 440 million US, a fair bit lower now. And yeah, now there's also talk about GTN, gross to net yield. So I thought, oh, this looks okay. It's not that bad. But then I went to hot copper, and the general vibe I was getting, not good. It was underwhelming, below expectations. And then there was a really good post from a guy, and in fact, this particular post I mentioned, I should have left it up. I was reading it before. This particular post meant this is all based off, and some of the people also had their own expectations, but this poster said it's all based off how these results compare to analysis expectations. And these results were significantly lower than analysis expectations. In fact, 40% lower. So that means Botanix significantly underperformed how people were thinking they were going to perform. Even though the numbers look okay, nice growth, it was actually lower than market expectations. And you can see how important results are compared to expectations just today with Botanix. Even though the underlying numbers look okay, down 54% because the market expected more. They expected better. And those better numbers were priced into the models. And those models spat out a fair value of Botanix, which was significantly higher than where the share price is right now. But on the flip side is the question of whether this is an overreaction for the market. And that is something I'm thinking about right now. Is this a significant overreaction? Share price down 54%. Will we see a significant rally, like a nice bounce because of this possible overreaction? Because the company is selling something. This is like a phase 2 or unsuccessful phase 2, phase 3 trial. This is just a bit of a miss to expectations. But it might have been a big miss. That's the other thing. Anyway, the other thing I was looking at here is just the 1 minute chart. And I was paying attention to this all day. And the main reason is because I was waiting for Yes, and we've got it. We've got it. So I think this could be the low. The reason I was looking at this is if you have a look at these big spikes, there was numerous 1 minute spike in volumes between 3 and 4 million. And that was really important because on the buy and sell side at all these price points, the amount of shares were between 3 and 4 million. So I believe there was a fund manager just loading shares onto the market every so often. They were just dumping their shares. It happened all the way until 2 p.m. and I think it stopped. I think it has stopped. So this fund manager has sold out near around about 14 cents. That was the end of their selling. Share price did drift lower for a little bit. And I think the reason it drifted lower was people noticed this. Maybe the market noticed this. And they're just waiting for this fund manager to stop selling. And I think based off the last hour, I think they've stopped selling. And we've started to see the share price just rally a little bit, not a lot. And we've started to see these green spikes in volume. So we're starting to see fund managers buying. And that's a good sign. So I think the bottom has been reached. And that bottom is 13 cents. There you go. Anyway, so I actually did a standalone video on that. And I'll release that video in September because it's not about Botanix Pharmaceuticals and their goings on today. It's really about hot copper, takeaways you can get from hot copper, like info, and also the 1 minute chart, how you can actually read stuff in just that 1 minute chart, just as I mentioned there. Okay, that is all I have. Oh, by the way, the chart for Botanix, the longer term chart. So they got FDA clearance, I don't know how long ago, but I did see in hot copper people saying, oh, the share price is now well below where the share price was before they got clearance, that sort of thing. Well, anyway. Chart looks terrible. And last time share price was this low was way back in late 2023. In fact, I would say, I think the breakout for Botanix was back in February 2023 when the share price was 6 cents. There was a big drop in share price in September. Share price did drop 22%, and then that was a low. Oh yeah, that's all I have for today's video. If you have any questions, any thoughts, leave those in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.